gosh. Hello! Who's ready for some spring equinox oracle card readings?
Yes.
Oh. Cousin and I love doing tarot spreads with each other. 2 or 3 times a week, we are reading for each other any given week.
It's true. With different decks. And,
I'm not a good shuffler, and I'm not ashamed.
I'm not a typical tarot shuffler. I see a lot of tarot people.
I know, they're like doing all the tricks.
Yeah, the one-handedness. That is hard for me to do.
I can do this one.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one too. I shuffle mine like playing cards just because that's what I can do. Just translate it to oracle and or tarot. Tarot.
Tarot. Oh gosh, that's gonna have to get cut. Maybe it was.
This is kind of an experiment for us. We're gonna try to see what works, but you know, we really love working together and we flow really well together, but also we seem to have much more come through when it's the two of us together, but we have a very special connection. Also, before our big magic works, we ask our teams in spirit to join us and to help guide us and drop any messages we need to receive. We protect ourselves by saying only that which is the highest good, harming none may come through. Because when you open your
Safety first.
Safety first, exactly. When you open yourself up to different planes of existence, things like that, you just never know what's going to come through. So it's always good to just make a statement saying only the love and light of the divine may come through.
Cards.
Okay.
I am using my Starseed Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. Rebecca Campbell makes beautiful oracle card decks. If you don't have one of hers, get one.
She really does. I have her Rose Oracle deck, but that is not what I'm using today. I am using Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. I love them so much because I love angels, I love ancestors, but you can really tell that he grabs images from different cultures all over the world. So it's not just one specific race or ethnicity or heritage. That was maybe too much information, but that's okay.
Now they know.
Now y'all know.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what this cut looks like.
Okay, cousin. While we're shuffling and talking, tell me, what do you think of when you think of the spring equinox?
I think of rabbits first of all because of Ostara.
Yeah.
And I think of like fertility and abundance and all the trees being horny and spreading their love everywhere. Pollen.
Nice.
What about you?
You know, first and foremost, I just cannot wait to see all the flowers popping up. Those first like smells of spring that come through, that like
that
fresh,
crisp.
Yes, crisp. And then like, you know, I feel like it's very quiet during winter, but then when spring starts, it's like you wake up and in the morning you just hear birds, so many birds, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize how quiet the past few months have been.
Yeah, no, and like I feel it in the rhythms of the earth too when I'm grounding. It's like in the winter, it's such a slow, steady drum. And
Yeah.
you know, this time of year, it like picks up speed and feels more like.
Yes. Well, that and then wanting to spend time outside, you know, having windows open, just the fresh energy and breeze, and yeah, it's just a good time to really start reconnecting back with the outdoors after being inside and hibernating.
Yes, spring fever. It's a thing.
Well, why don't you start us off with a card and then I'll go next.
Well, I just have one kind of pop out. I almost grabbed it, but then it didn't. So, but yeah, I'll go.
It wasn't meant to be.
So, first card is pulling it random. Oh, this one tried to pop out. Lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. This is a card about going within. Like, the lost lands refer to all these ancient civilizations like Atlantis, Lemuria, all these places that have been before, but there's very little evidence left of them. And there are many who believe that these lands are still just hidden somewhere in another dimension or a different part of the inner earth. And I'm not here to teach about that, but I'm here to teach about your own personal lost lands. This is a good time, like before spring really explodes, like to go within, check in with your true self, see, like go on meditations and journeys that kind of open new doors for this new cycle that we're in. So it's a time for self-exploration right now.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for a pop culture reference, if anybody has seen Wakanda Forever, the people living underneath the sea, that would be a reference to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to connect things with pop culture references because if you're not familiar with them, you might be familiar with the pop culture, and it's an easy way to just connect things and be like,
It's like those neural pathways. It doesn't matter how you're getting the connection. It's like making that connection makes it easier for your brain to get further along with different ideas. It's where creativity and imagination are born.
Absolutely. Nice, cousin.
Wise.
Okay, I've got a card coming out. Ooh, the Mountains card, which is Stand Your Ground. Just put it up there. So when I think of the Mountains card and standing your ground, what do you think of when you think of mountains? You think of strong, you think of sturdy, you think of just, to me, it's like, it's almost a very like heavy feeling, but like it's so connected with the earth. But then you also think of mountain peaks that are like up high in the sky reaching towards the cosmos. So when I see this card, I really think of, as above, so below. It's all about balance. It's about, being earthly, but also being cosmic at the same time. We all have these divine sparks inside of us. But we're also very human, living on this earth plane. So it's trying to find the balance of the cosmic and also earthly path that we are on, but also the standing your ground. What is something you need to be strong and stand your ground about? Is it a boundary? Is it a belief? So something to think about on that.
Nice. I love mountains.
Yeah, they're magical.
They are. Climb every mountain.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about mountains and all the folklore that like goes about them, but like also I just know they're riddled with portals.
Oh yeah.
There's no, because they're a liminal place.
I used to think when I lived in Colorado, like at least once a week, I would have this big moment where I would be like, can you imagine being like Lewis and Clark crossing the Great Plains and then all of a sudden like you hit these Rocky Mountains? They probably thought they entered a different world.
Yeah, I mean, really though. I just, no, I love that you think about that because it really is think about how eye-opening that would be. It's like you're exploring this magical land that you've never seen before and that wasn't written about. And
Yeah.
here are these huge, gorgeous, majestic mountains.
Yes. That story gets dicier.
Yeah, right. Well, we know they weren't the first to discover it.
Yeah. There were people living here first.
There were already people living here.
All right. The next card I got is the Great Severing. Oh my gosh, I am feeling this card here. The Great Severing.
It also has mountains on it.
It does also have mountains on it, but they're like sand dunes, so they're like movable mountains, which is kind of what this card's about. It's about, okay, so this card is about, I know there are a lot of shifts happening right now in relationship dynamics, in family dynamics, and this card is about cutting out what does not serve. If something or someone is holding you back from living in your most authentic, fullest potential, then you need to cut them out of your lives. It doesn't have to be cutting them out forever. You can always leave a door open. Just give them the boundaries they need, and tell them where the door is. But there are so many of us that are coming so close to huge transitions and really hitting our stride, and anything that's holding you back needs to be let go. And don't let that harden you. Don't be like the hard cut off, because it's like softening to love. The sand dunes, like, be the mountain, but be flexible, be movable, and keep your heart open always, because people can change and evolve, and just because they're not good for you in your life right now does not mean that down the line that won't change.
Absolutely, and I love that. Speaking about mountains being a liminal place, sand dunes feel even more liminal because they're made up of such tiny pieces and can shift and evolve so much. Mm-hmm. But also think about what's going on in the world right now. Shifts are happening so much faster than they were, and so really everything is becoming more liminal. But
do you see me shuffling over here?
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
These things happen. These things happen. Okay, let's see what the next card is over here. Oh, which is perfect. So we got the Elder card, which is all about moving beyond ancestral patterns, which is kind of what we were starting to get into accidentally even,
Yeah.
Again, so as we've discussed, things are happening faster and faster. Shifts, entire systems and networks are having to be torn down and rebuilt. I mean, look what's happening in healthcare, education, politics, you name it. But one thing we've also discovered, and I know we've both talked about, are the ancestral patterns that are coming up in family lines right now. They've always done it. It's just part of what is. However, with everything being so accelerated right now, it's really coming up for so many families across the globe in a very hardcore way. And when these patterns, whatever they may be, whether it's abuse of alcohol or shaming of weight or anything that somebody in your family has done and is passed down to the next generation, which was in turn taken and passed down and over and over and over again. The first step is noticing that these are patterns that run through your family line, because a lot of people don't notice, and we didn't notice for a long time until we really started doing this work. But we're all given the chance to move beyond these patterns. And again, the first step is recognizing, but we really have to do our part to move beyond it so the later generations do not have to take them on and deal with it.
100%. And we really do. We heal our families and our lineage as we are healing ourselves. Like, we just had this crazy experience where I was getting a big healing in my throat and sacral space. And cousin here had she started crying in the middle of when I was having that work done. And we know of a couple other people in our family unit who were affected by that healing unknowingly.
And we're in two different states.
Yeah.
She was having this healing done, but it was also affecting me because we share a family line. We share family ancestors. And these ancestral patterns are so strong, and there's a reason why epigenetics is being talked about more and more. Mm-hmm. It's literally, these things are in our DNA and are passed down in family lines. So embody the Elder, recognize and see your ancestral patterns, and then do the work to move beyond them.
Yay! I think that's good.
Yeah, I think those are some great spring equinox.
Happy Equinox! That went really well. We're gonna do this again. That was her idea.
You lucky guys. You're lucky guys.
We were gonna do a spread and split it up, was the original idea, but cousin had the great idea to just start pulling cards. I loved it.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, I forgot I have a clicker.
But also, it makes it the conversation. It just, but